Welcome to day 4. Today is Blitzen's day. This is Blitzen.
And I'm not blitzed. Not yet.
Not right now. She's going to be
coming.
talking about wool today.
My passion. We have many things on our day 4 wool adventure. This group here, which are the Bowen Chenille 24 needles, large eye, they're good. What I like about those is they're good for when you're sewing wool to wool and you're using a heavier thread. The other favorites are the John James number 8 embroidery needles. These I use when I'm using one strand of an embroidery floss. And when I stitch wool to wool, just on the background kind of thing, like on these crazy little sweaters, I use one strand of embroidery floss and whip stitch it rather than blanket stitch, because I don't want to see all the thread, I just want to see what the item is. So those are best for that. And if you're getting older like I am, you're going to want a needle threader. These are great, 3 in a package. Soft fuse is something that I will not do wool without, but when you're doing a bigger piece and you're heating it up, and then I don't use a hoop or a thimble, when it's a big piece, some of them will kind of pop up. So these little applique pins are perfect when you're just needing to put a few in to hold that piece in place. But other than that, this holds everything. So like on a piece like this, where I'm stitching up here, it may, because I'm handling it so much, come up from the back here. And that's where you would just pop a pin in.
Tweezers.
Tweezers, oh, these are so good when you're doing little bits, like his nose here, or the pom-pom on his hat. It's easy to just pick them up. They're a bent nose, I guess, to pick it up and put it in place. Wool catches on my fingers, so it's just the easiest thing to use.
So all of these items, plus the nice set of ultra sharp embroidery scissors, are part of Maddie's specially selected starter package for those of you just starting out on your wool habit.
And it's a habit.
They will be available individually or as a package. You can go into the page for those from your email from today and pick one or all or just a couple, and the price will depend on how many of them you pick.
Some things you may already have, but the things you really want, especially the tweezers, that's something to add to your collection.
Yeah, that's why we made them available individually, because they're all things we think you should have, but some of you may have a couple of them, so just add the ones you don't have and you're good to go. So next is the soft fuse.
This is very much like heat and bond, but it's like a fine web. So heat and bond would make your pieces stiff, whereas soft fuse, they're really soft. And it puts everything in place, so you can cut all your pieces out, adhere them to your background, and then take it with you and stitch along in front of the TV. Like these up here, I would have used soft fuse on the backs of those. That's the other thing you have to remember, is if you're using soft fuse, your pattern has to be reversed. If it isn't, flip it over, trace it, and then trace it onto your soft fuse. So then it comes out the way you want. Otherwise, the stocking would be facing the other way. Same with the candy cane and all that. But, it gets everything in place, and then you can just sit and stitch. You don't have to pin everything down, and your threads get caught on the pins, and this is just a really wonderful item.
And then we have the 365 plus embroidery combinations. This is a perpetual calendar, so you can use it year after year.
It's great. It gives you ideas to, do on your piece. So every one is something different, especially if you're into crazy quilting or
just plain old embroidery.
Yeah, on anything.
Some of them are just straight stitches. Some of them are combinations.
Some use beading just to show you the different things you can do.
Yeah. So that's that one. And then we also have the Tim Holtz 5-inch embroidery, mini snips.
Yeah.
So these are featured as one of the elf specials for the entire duration of Reindeer Days. And we just thought we'd give them an extra shout out today because they're a personal favorite.
Yes. They have a serrated edge, so when you're cutting small pieces, you don't slip with them. You can be very precise. And when you're cutting little bits, like in here, where you have to cut them away, it's so much easier to use a smaller scissor than it is the big scissors. So I love them.
And one of the awesome offerings for today is a specially curated collection of Valdani, and these are all of Maddie's favorite colors.
Especially the red. Actually, I like them all.
So you get this set of 9 in a 12 weight, and you're good to go for a starter package of Valdani as well.
The Valdani is also good for doing needle punch. You can use 8 and 12 weight, and I mix both together, and you wouldn't know the difference when you're doing punch needle.
Yeah. And then the other couple things we have are the Wool, Needle, and Thread book, and that is by...
It's Primitive Gatherings. I believe that's Lisa Bongian.
Yep.
It is an excellent book. It's a reference book, really. She tells you all the different ways of doing wool. You can either use soft wool, you can use freezer paper, you can just use a bit of Roxanne's glue-based. They sold out before I got one.
Yeah,
so.
We would have one here to display. I will pop some pictures into the video as well, but they sold so quickly we couldn't even snag one for ourselves to keep for the video. And then the other thing we have is the Hand Embroidery Pocket Guide. That's another awesome little book.
It's just a little one, and what's nice about that one is every stitch, they're all in alphabetical order, so bullion stitch, where's that? Oh, and really good instructions on how to do them. They're little drawings, but very clear and easy to figure out.
And remember I mentioned Mrs. Claus is a little shifty? There might be a gift certificate for $10 stuck randomly in one of those books that are ordered. So we'll have to see who gets it. And the last thing we have on for today is the wool scrap bags.
Again.
Don't have any because they're all gone.
You get about 40 pieces that are about 5 inches to, about 5 inches square. Some of them are doubled up. Most of them are solids, but they are perfect for doing little things where you just need a little bit of color. For many of the buttermilk basin patterns that we have, or crane design, or that's about it for our patterns. Those are mostly the two.
I bought one of them. They're great. They have a nice selection of colors in them for somebody who's just starting out and needs a bunch of little pieces.
Yeah, it's a great way to start. And then we also sell wool in various sizes, in all different colors.
So that's it for today, and we will see you.
It's the best day. It's the wool day.
She might be a little biased.
And I didn't make this sweater, to match me, but what the heck.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
This episode of Reindeer Games is brought to you by Aurifil Color Builders. Today's featured collection is Como. Luxurious blues reminiscent of the sparkling waters of Como Lake. They will make you long for a quiet weekend in your own beachside villa. Tonic Studios for Tim Holtz in 3 different sizes. With their micro-serrated titanium blades and cush grip handles, they will quickly become your go-to scissors for every project. Join us tomorrow for the next episode of Reindeer Games.